Good evening, and welcome to Let's Talk with Lakshmi, a show about us, our people, our community, our culture, our experiences. And viewers, it is indeed a privilege to be sitting here right at the Lefferts branch of the Queens Library. It's right here in your home in Richmond Hill. It's on Lefferts Boulevard, right off of Liberty. And today is a very, very special day. It's a day that will mark in all of our history books, in our Indo-Caribbean history books, that is. It's a day where the Indo-Caribbean Alliance has launched a special section within this library of only Indo-Caribbean books. Now, this is either written by Indo-Caribbean authors or books about Indo-Caribbean. And sitting to my right here is Anita. She is one of the people who spearheaded this program. Now, Anita, first of all, I want you to let our viewers know where you're from and just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Anita Baksh. I am from this area of Queens. I came here when I was actually in college, and I lived very close to this library. This was actually the branch of the library that I used and that I came to, so it's really special to have this collection here. And I'm a graduate student. I'm working on a dissertation on Indo-Caribbean writing, and I teach part-time, sometimes at St. John's University. So I'm very happy to be here, and very happy to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anita. Now, Anita, where are you from originally, or your parents are from originally?
So I claim to be Guyanese, but that's not the whole truth. I was born in Suriname, and
Fawaka.
I was very young and I left. And I went to Guyana and I lived there for a few years before migrating to the US. And since then, I've lived in Jersey, the Bronx, Brooklyn, and finally, I'm here in Queens in the heart of Richmond Hill and Jamaica. And this is now my home.
Now, question, growing up in Guyana or Suriname, and it's actually funny, this first time I heard somebody going from Suriname to Guyana, it's usually Guyana to Suriname. But growing up in Guyana as a young child, did you ever pick up a book that was written by, let's say, a Guyanese author?
No, I didn't. I actually left when I was very young, so I didn't have that opportunity. But when I did go back, I remember going back in 1994, and part of the project I had to do for leaving school for so long was to find a book from my community about a Caribbean book, an Indo-Caribbean book, and my uncle who lived there at the time had to look everywhere, to really find one for me. So I remember, that material wasn't really accessible then there. I'm sure some of that has changed now as there's more publishing within the Caribbean space itself now. So it's not until really I became an adult that I got access and through my own research to this kind of work.
Anita, what inspired you to spearhead this program?
Well, I was actually approached by ICA to try to help and work with the Queen's Library. It was a project that ICA took and said to the Queen's Library, we want to make this happen. And so it seemed fitting, given my expertise, my experience with research, that I, would get involved and really help. And since I'm, based in this community and really value the work that ICA does, the community, it seemed perfect for me to be able to work on this project.
How long did it take you to succeed with this project? Like, when did you start? When did the thought come about? And how long did it take?
So the project is about almost a little over a year that it came together, and it just basically started with meetings with local staff, and then there was actually a really important meeting for the GROW organizations, which had a few legislative representatives, but also had a lot of key Queens Library people. And that's when the project really got picked up by administrators within Queens Library, and we just really started taking off and kept on working with them, in addition to local staff, to really make it happen. It started with something as simple as a book list, and then now we have about 100 books in the collection. So
amazing, 100 books. And I have to commend you, 1 year, and you've created a section in the Queen's Library for Indo-Caribbean art. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. Now, Anita, congratulations. I know you just had a baby.
Oh, thank you.
So, considering that you're a mother now who will have to sit down with their child, read books, how does it feel for you that that there's 100 books here right now? I mean, he was just born. But as he gets a little older, that he can actually come here to the Queen's Library on Lefferts and pick up an Indo-Caribbean book?
It's a really amazing feeling because, I think of all the things, a lot of this, for a lot of people, it's your own personal research, right, that you need to do on the internet and through other libraries. I mean, as a researcher, I would have to have books come in from the West Indies, from libraries in the West Indies through interlibrary loan just because they weren't available, in this area. So it's amazing to think that, young children, including my own, will have this opportunity that I didn't have, that you didn't have, that a lot of other people didn't have. And it's really important now as more children are born here, are raised here, to really know that history and know the struggles of Indo-Caribbean peoples, both in the Caribbean and even now in America. One of the things that I forgot to mention is that, this really became possible through fundraising, through ICA's, dedication to fundraising. Most of the money that came for this project is through individuals who donated from our community to the project, from legislators, and it's ICA who really, coveted all of that donation, and the library, matched some of that, and they will continue to match some of it to a certain extent if people keep donating, but we only have a short time for them to match that donation.
Now, tell me about the match program. How does that work?
So the Queen's Library Foundation promised today that from now until about January, they will match dollar for dollar whatever people donate. Now, we, of course, see this as an ongoing project, going to continue to take donations, going to continue to, promote the project, but the library's going to be matching that until January. So it's a very short period, but still a significant gesture that we really appreciate and that we hope, people will take advantage of.
Now, if there are other authors out there that are watching this program today and they would like to donate their book here, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, they can check us out at our website. We would love for people, if you can't donate money, and for authors to donate their books and even books from their personal collection. They can just check us out at our website, www.Indo-Caribbean.org. And at that website, you'll also find out about all the other amazing projects that ICA is doing for the community, such as the mentoring project, and also find out more information about the book collection, how to donate, what books need to be purchased. There's a full list on there of books that we have, books that we need, and things that are out of print that people may have that can donate also.
Well, you're really doing a great thing for our community. I want to thank you. I know we have your partner in the back waiting to come on as well. So we're going to take a little break here, and we're going to come back with Richard David.
Hi, I'm Professor Joy Mahabir. I teach at Suffolk County Community College. It's a college of the State University of New York. And I teach Caribbean literature, African American literature, and contemporary global literature. I was invited to the Lefferts Library here today by the Indo-Caribbean Alliance, together with the Queen's Library. They just put together an Indo-Caribbean collection, literature. And I just talked a little bit today about our Indo-Caribbean writers. We have a lot of Indo-Caribbean writers, mainly from Trinidad and Guyana, but also from Jamaica, from Suriname, and from Martinique and Guadeloupe. One thing about Indo-Caribbean literature over the past 2 decades is that we have a lot of women writers, and these women, they've written with a lot of courage and honesty about politics and identity and sexuality and activism. And so today I just spoke about some of these poets, the poets I spoke about, and I also read one of my poems called Green Cane.
I teach a course at York University called Indo-Caribbean in Canada, and I was really delighted to see so many of the books that I teach actually as part of the collection, especially the students. Usually their favorite is The Swinging Bridge by Ramabai Espinay. A lot of students who take the course and who will use this library are people who are just trying to find their stories that they can't access in other places, or they don't sometimes even learn from their families. So it's wonderful to have this collection for people to find out more about themselves and their histories and what makes them. What I'm wearing today is a cutlass from a collection called Wardrobes, which was the result of me reading Indo-Caribbean literature and thinking through the development of my own identity and what has traveled from the time that Indians first came to the Caribbean in the 1840s to now. So the cutlass is actually an ode to both the labor of Indian indentures and also a kind of personal story about my grandmother. And another piece in the collection that's really popular is called Rum and Roti. And it's a satchel, especially for carnival masqueraders. And of course, just anyone who buys roti a lot. It's an insulated bag that fits a roti and closes, so it keeps it warm, especially if you live in a cold climate. And it has a little hidden pocket at the back that you might slip something else into. So there's the rum and roti satchel and the cutlass, and there's an urni that's a tribute to my other grandmother. And yeah, so the Wardrobes Project began in reading, it turned into a fashion collection, and next it will be a series of performances.
Well, viewers, I'm back with another brilliant mind who was behind this great project here right at the Lefferts Library, Lefferts Branch Library on Lefferts Boulevard in Richmond Hill. And it is always a pleasure to be with who I call Mr. President, Richard David. Richard, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited. A lot of energy here today.
A lot of energy, a lot went into this project. I have to commend the ICA. You guys, this is history in the making, Richard, and you know this. And I'm just curious to know what was behind the scenes? What went behind this whole project?
So we get a lot of emails and calls from scholars, students in college, people across the country and around the world. They want to access Indo-Caribbean history and they want to do actual research that's happening now. And that's where this project came from. We needed a place to direct people to go because we don't have that history. But fortunately, a lot of writers have published. And so we've collected books that these scholars have given to us, the lists, and now we have the collection here. That's where it came from.
Awesome. Now, I mean, you think about Indo-Caribbean history and where can you really find it? For instance, Deborah Baracus, who wrote the cookbook that we're going to take a look at in a little while. Debbie said that she walked into a bookstore one time and wanted a Guyanese cookbook, and there was one book. So now she created the second book. But that's just cooking. But when you think about maybe an Indo-Caribbean author or Indo-Caribbean story, where our families came from in India to the Caribbean to North America, it's curious to know where can I find this. And I think it's great that now here, Richmond Hill, which was once known as Little Guyana, or we're going to call it Little Caribbean, that our children can now go into the library right here in the Little Caribbean and find books that are written by Indo-Caribbean authors. And when I think about like Guyana, Trinidad, I know Trinidad has a museum that you can find Indo-Caribbean history. I'm not exactly too sure what Guyana has, but now I know New York City, and because of the Indo-Caribbean Alliance, has this now. Now, what's the next step for the Indo-Caribbean Alliance and the library?
Well, this is just the beginning. A lot of outreach is going to go into making sure that people continue to use this. We're fortunate to be a part of one of the largest library systems in the world, and we have an Indo-Caribbean section there. We have some of the best writers and authors, and it's going to be our job to make sure that this collection stays here and that it's going to be vibrant and the books are getting returned and updated. And we've also, because of the announcement today that Queen's Library is going to match our donation, we're going to purchase books on behalf of Queen's Library to distribute throughout Indo-Caribbean communities in Queens. So it's not just going to be here in Lefferts, it's going to be in Jamaica, it's going to be in Ozone Park, it's going to be in Woodhaven, it's going to be across these Indo-Caribbean communities.
Now, with this project, with the Indo-Caribbean books right here in Richmond Hill, Queens, will you be reaching out to the schools maybe and letting the schools know that the kids in the area can come to the library here and learn more about Indo-Caribbean history?
Yeah, we're going to partner up with a lot of schools to get the teachers to assign reading materials that are in the collection. We actually had Anita, who you've met with. She is actually a professor at St. John's, and she actually had some of her students here today. They're already checking out the collection and writing papers about the collection. High school students are going to use this, and we're going to make sure they do.
Awesome. Now, Rich, tell me some of the books that we can find here. What are some of the books, maybe some of the subjects, titles? What can we find here in this collection?
Absolutely. I mean, the fascinating thing about Indo-Caribbean culture is it's still happening and it's still vibrant. And we have contemporary authors like Sucre who has Breakout, and that's here. It talks about issues like domestic violence and substance abuse. We have books, Jose from Trinidad, that goes back, that's from the 80s. We have books on arts, migration, assimilation, music, jewelry, Indo-Caribbean jewelry. There's a whole book about it. And it's fascinating how much goes into the artistic craft of creating Indo-Caribbean jewelry. It's really a fusion of this, people say kuli. It's this fusion of African influences, European influences, and Indian influences that's become this Indo-Caribbean jewelry and music. It's all here, and it's waiting for people to begin using it responsibly.
Now, I know you're residents of Queens.
That's right.
And you live in Queens. You do a lot with the Indo-Caribbean Alliance. I mean, I have to commend such a young group that has just hit this community with a storm. That's what you guys did. You guys just came in and hit this community with a storm. You have been doing so much in such a little time. I think we met you about a year ago on Let's Talk with Lakshmi. And within that year, you guys have really done tremendous in this community. In 1 year, you put together Indo-Caribbean section in the library. That's absolutely amazing. Now, being so young and doing so much, and like I said, hitting this community like a storm, how do you feel today, Richard?
I'm very proud to have this collection. I'm also honored to be working with some brilliant Indo-Caribbean people who I guess they're young, and they're really donating their time to making our community a better space, and that's what ICA is about. It's about tapping into all of this potential that's out there within the Indo-Caribbean community and using it for projects that we need right here. That's what it's about, and that's what ICA represents.
Now, going back to projects like this, I mean, did funding have to go into this? And if so, where did you get it? Or how are you getting it? And how can people help towards it?
The collection that we have right now, it features over 100 books, and it's a growing collection of DVD and other materials that's going to go into it. The existing collection costs a little bit over $3,000. It's a lot of funds have come in through online donations. We've done fundraisers, and today we've raised a lot of funds from matching contributions. But books, shipping, it costs a lot of money. And you can see the updated book list, and we update it daily, so you can see what's been purchased and what hasn't been purchased, and you can check it out online. But with the matching collection from Queens Library, we believe it'll make a significant contribution, and we're still collecting those donations. Visit us at our website, www.indocaribbean.org. You cannot forget that.
Okay, guys, so make sure you go on www.indocaribbean.org. Check out their website. Check out everything that the Indo-Caribbean Alliance is doing. They're really doing great things for our community. Please, if you can, do support this organization. Again, they are doing really, really great things for our community. Take a look. One exciting book to make sure you come and check out right here at the library is Guyana's Tasty Exotic. Now, this is a book done by the beautiful and talented, delicious, I'm going to call her today, Deborah Barakas. Debbie, how are you doing today?
Excellent.
Now, Debbie, you're from Guyana, right?
Yep, I am.
Where in Guyana are you from?
Georgetown, Pike Street, Kitty.
Okay, well, I heard that you started cooking ever since you were only 9 years old. You were in the kitchen with Mom?
That's right. Yep, and grandmother.
Okay, now did that influence you to write this book?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So tell our viewers from Let's Talk with Lakshmi and Debbie exactly what can we find in Guyana's Tasty Exotic?
Okay, well, we can find all the Guyanese recipes that are popular and some new creations. Also, images of home, food, just nostalgic stuff, and little anecdotes, little stories that I heard hanging out in the kitchen with my mom or being in the dining room table with my siblings.
Share with us something.
Oh, well, just folklore, like Jambi stories, or just talking about stuff that oh gosh, I can't really put my finger on it, but there's so many little stories in there. Basically about food, about what's good for you and what's not good for you, and what happens if you eat certain things, just like folklore stuff.
Oh boy. Well, I don't think I've ever heard anything like that. So tell me, what is a folklore? If you eat what would happen to you?
Oh gosh, well, you can't eat green potatoes. They're poisonous, but it's also bad. It's bad luck.
Okay. So guys, don't eat green potatoes. It's bad luck.
Superstition.
So Debbie, tell me, can I find a recipe for chicken curry in here?
Oh, absolutely. Chicken curry, duck curry, whatever.
Roti,
Fish curry, rotis, cook up
pepper
rice,
shrimp.
pepper shrimp. Well, maybe. I have some shrimp recipes in there. Cook up rice, chow mein, mentamji, black cake, and of course, oh my gosh, pepper pot. Pepper pot.
Awesome. Well, guys, I'm hungry. I'm going to make sure I pick up this book and go home and start to cook.
All right.
Viewers, I'm standing here again with the beautiful, talented Sukri Bajram. She was on Let's Talk with Lakshmi previously, and she has donated her book here, Breakout, to the library. Now, Sukri, just tell our viewers a little bit about the book.
The book is really walking a reader through what a victim goes through, what help a victim goes out and gets, what help an abuser goes out and get, and generally the emotional struggles that a victim goes through with regards to, do I do it, do I not do it, what will people think, and how I overcame that. As an example, for anyone in that situation currently who would want to understand why they feel the way they feel. That's basically the gist of it.
Now, I have to ask you, earlier you had a speech and you did a little Q&A where everybody was able to participate and ask you questions about abuse, and of course you mentioned that they're all different types and forms of abuse. Now, your book is really going to have an impact in our Indo-Caribbean community right here in Queens. How do you feel about that?
I feel extremely passionate and proud. I want to pass on this knowledge to the individuals that say, you know what, this is something I was told not to talk about, but it's okay. There was somebody, a girl named Sukri, that talked about it. And you know what? It's okay for me to talk about. It's okay. What is not okay is to continue to get abused. And I was at a restaurant the other day and someone asked me a question that says, are you happy now that you're out? And I said, yes, I am. And the question was, well, how could you be happy without a partner? And I said, you know what? I had to go partner with myself and I had to find myself. And one of the biggest fear of victims, am I going to be alone? We choose to be alone sometimes. We don't have to.
Now, do you feel that maybe a lot of victims stay in relationships because they're afraid to be alone? They're afraid to say, I do not have a partner?
Yes, I think when we are in relationship with partner, whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, or common law or marriage, we identify ourselves with that person. One of the biggest things I learned, I had to identify myself with myself first. If I can't love and take care of myself and put myself first, why do I think someone's going to love and take care of me and put me first? I have to do that. I had to learn it. I had to learn it through counseling. I had to learn it through group therapy. And I had to learn it through a lot of pain. And one of the biggest things I hear, and I work with a lot of victims and people that reach out, is the pain of coming out of being abused. It rips you on the inside. But there's a saying that I learned, this too shall pass, but it doesn't pass without pain. But it does pass, and when it passes, I'm on the other side. I'm happy, and I am alone right now, and you know what? I'm happy with myself. This was a painful journey, but I'm happy I did it, because now I have a daughter and a son, and they can say, you know what? My mom may have been 40 when she came out, but she has another 40 years left. So yeah, it will help our community. I know that, and ICA did a great job. The turnout was phenomenal, don't you think?
I think it was absolutely excellent. Now, I know you had some dialogue with Richard David
Yes.
that you wanted to share today on Let's Talk with Lakshmi.
Yes, I'm going to take this back to Central Florida. I'm writing an article for the Caribbean American Passport magazine, which is the prime Caribbean newspaper in Central Florida, about 5,000 circulation. And one of the questions I asked is, what does he want the community to know by having this collection? And his response was very straightforward, very simple and from the heart. He said he'd like the community, Caribbean community, to know that they have a resource where they can go discover themselves, where they came from, how they came about, how to deal with issues that may be social prejudices and social expectations. And he says that's all he wants. And whenever we do projects, we've talked about this at length, whenever we do projects that are passionate and from the heart, the payback is immeasurable, it's invaluable. So he's very, very proud. He wants the community to come out and learn about their history and learn about being Indo-Caribbean and what it is.
Well, Sukri, thank you so much. Thank you for your participation here today. Thank you for donating your book to the library. And it's always a pleasure seeing you. I am so excited to be standing right here at the Indo-Caribbean section here of Indo-Caribbean books and authors right here at the Lefferts Branch Queens Library. And to my right here, of course, is my dear friend. She is the co-founder of the ICA, none other than Fadia Beichnat. Fadia, how are you today?
I'm great. Very excited now that we have our section in the library.
Fadia, I know that you probably put a lot into this project yourself too. The person that you are, you're such a hardworking volunteer, co-founder of the ICA. I just actually want to just go through a few of these books maybe and talk a little bit about it. I mean, it's so exciting to finally have something like this in our community, and it's such a great achievement for you guys. So cricket. Everybody loves cricket. What is this book about, Fadia?
Well, we have Citran. They're both books about cricket and sports and Indo-Caribbean sports and what role Indo-Caribbean people played or contributed to cricket. So we have a couple of books on cricket. This is one of them. Aside from sports, we have a number of categories. So we have sports, we have cooking, we have music, jewelry, everything that you can think about that makes up ethnicity group we have.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, you know what caught my eye as soon as I came here?
What's that?
This, Chetty Jagan.
Oh, yes.
Tell me about this book.
Well, as you know, and everybody, whether you're young or old, everybody knows who this man is. He's one of the most famous president of Guyana. So this book just talks about his life and his contribution to the country and who he is as a person. It's a great read, I'd say.
Awesome. Yeah. Definitely come to the library, pick up this book. I think I have to come back here and make sure I pick up that book as well. So let's see what else is here. Let's take a look. Diwali. That's got to be one of my favorites.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this looks like, is it a children's book?
It is. It's one of our very first children's book, and it's a book about Diwali. So it's also one of my favorite, I think, because, you know, part of this is to just encourage kids to come out and take books from the collection that they can relate to, and this is definitely a book about that.
Okay, amazing. Diwali Rose. Can't wait to, I gotta come here.
Definitely.
Some time off, just pick up a couple of these books, sit down and read.
And then maybe you can have more kids come at the Diwali parade next year after they read this. They'll be inspired.
Exactly. Okay, I'm gonna hold on to this because I can't stick that in. So, let's see. There's a couple of books down here by V.S. Naipaul. Tell me about that.
Well, V.S. Naipaul is one of the most famous Indo-Caribbean authors. He was born in Trinidad. I just found that he was knighted by the Queen, so he's a very big deal in our Indo-Caribbean community. And we have his entire collection, so you can come here and pick up any of his books. And, you know, they're all very, very good.
Amazing, amazing. So where does it keep on going? Okay, so it ends right here. So now you said there's about 100 books here, right?
Yes, there's currently 100 books. We are looking to expand and keep updating the collection. So although today was just about, you know, the launch, we still have a far way to go. We need, you know, to get donations, contributions. We need people to donate their books. And, you know, they can get the list from our website at Indo-Caribbean.org, where we have a list of books that we want to see in the collection. And whoever have that at home that they're not using, they can contribute it, and we can just make the space bigger and bigger with more books.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Fadia, so much. Guys, remember, just go to www.indocaribbean.org. Check out the website, check out the books, check out what you can do for your community.
Guyana in my womb's lining, giving birth to calified cities, Richmond Hill and Castle Hill, where my peoples are thriving. Once crossing the Kalapani, purified by the bloodshed of generations united, fighting against a Sahib intent on stealing Kuli's souls he called savage. Intent on stealing Kuli's souls he called savage. But singing Ram Leelas and Tamil tunes in Kali's name, we always prevailed. Beaten, but never broken. Beaten, but never broken. Beaten, but never broken. I once wandered this world searching for answers. Who am I? They used to laugh in confused amusement when I said, I'm Indian. Well, how come you don't speak Hindi then? My tongue, a clipped wing, was at a loss for words. My tongue, a clipped wing, was at a loss for words. You see, I wasn't equipped then with weaponry I carry now. Agony, balled up in my fist, ready to throw embers, budded ignorance at a daisies, quick to judge, just because they were from the subcontinent and I wasn't. I used to deny my Indianness then, thinking it's too complicated to explain. Conflicted by feelings of being Indian and Guyanese, yet told, you're just an American, Simone. My identity was a lost child seeking home. My identity was a lost child seeking home. Until one day, an ancestor whispered gently in my ears, her voice cradling me, reminding me of Granny's warmth. Resilience is preserved calcium in your bones, my child. Never deny what we fought for, that which forever lies in your heart. It was at that moment that my soul smiled boldly, knowing I am a daughter of Syria. The blood of Jahaji brothers and sisters soar through my veins, and blessed with their gifts of triumph, I can never, ever forget. Never, ever forget. So today in the BX Hills where I dwell, I teach little ones like me. Be proud of your multiple identities woven into the darkness of black hair and hues of brown skin, just like my ancestors once taught me. So Indian, Guyanese, Indo-Caribbean, West Indian, South Asian, and yes, Desi. Who said we had to be boxed in? We are traveling flames, always flying with the ebbs and flows of the wind. We are traveling flames, always flying with the ebbs and flows of the wind. We are traveling flames, always flying with the ebbs and flows of the wind. Never, ever again will we forget. Never again will I forget.
The only way to preserve knowledge is to share it. And today I must commend the Indo-Caribbean Alliance for making history right here in Richmond Hill, New York. Again, it is such a pleasure to work with such a strong, storming group like the ICA. Guys, remember, just come out to the Lefferts Boulevard, Queens Library. This one is on Lefferts Boulevard, off Liberty Avenue, and you're going to find this whole section, 100 books of our people, our community, our culture. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk with Lakshmi, and I'll see you all next week. Same time, same place. It's a date. Let's talk.
Let's talk with Lakshmi. Here we go now, here we go now. Let's talk with Lakshmi. Bring the artists, bring the dancers. Let's talk with Lakshmi. Again now. Let's talk with Lakshmi. Bring the topics, let we chat now.